Hey ladies and gents, Miss P here. Sorry I couldn't be here today. I'm probably on a bus actually back from a competition in Spicer, Minnesota. So anyway, will you please grab your lecture notes for the nervous system? We need to finish those up. We don't have many slides left, but you do need to go through some of the basics. So have Mr. Hinden pause this and get out your notes, and then we'll start. All right. We should be good, I hope. So all we're going to do today is talk basic vocab about labels or divisions of the nervous system. So the first big difference is the central nervous system versus the peripheral nervous system. So the central nervous system is the center. So the brain and the spinal cord, right? The peripheral nervous system is everything else. So just like your peripheral vision is on the sides, the peripheral nervous system is everything that comes from the brain and spinal cord. So that would be like the nerves that run down your arms, that run down your legs, all that jazz. They have further divisions, so we're going to talk about that. The central nervous system processes all the information that the peripheral nervous system picks up. So remember, you have nerve cells for pain, for pressure, for heat, for cold, all that stuff, right? And your peripheral nervous system, when you bump into a door or get poked or hit or whatever, is the stuff to send that message to the central nervous system. The central nervous system figures out what to do with that information and then sends it back by a motor neuron, remember, if there's a reaction. So you're running, the sense is I'm kind of tired, right? I'm increasing CO2. The motor neuron gets sent to your heart to beat faster. So they work together. This is the sensory piece. This is the processing piece. Okay. So within the PNS is how we abbreviate it, so the peripheral nervous system, there's more divisions. So we need to focus in on that part and keep going. So within the PNS, remember there's those reflex arcs. So they have the sensory piece and then the motor piece. So we talked about those. Sensory senses, motor actually stimulates a muscle, right? Now, the peripheral nervous system, like I said, is divided into two systems, the somatic and the autonomic. So let's talk about each of those. So here's the peripheral nervous system. And we're going to focus on the motor division, what physically makes you move. So like I said, there's the sensory nerves, and then there's the motor nerves, right? And the autonomic is automatic, so it automatically happens. It's not something you have to think about. Remember, I've talked to you multiple times about if you had to think about everything that your body does automatically, you die. So this would be like breathing, heartbeat, blinking, digesting, all those things that you have to involuntarily just let go, but it's still controlled by nerves. That's the autonomic. The somatic is the voluntary stuff. So like, I'm choosing to take notes right now. That's voluntary. I choose to walk across the classroom. Voluntary. Things like that. So again, somatic is conscious control of movement. And most of that is like your movement, like your physical body movement, which would be based on your skeletal muscles. Okay? So get that down. And your autonomic, like I said, is the stuff that you don't control. So you can see all of the things that your body does. So you need to go to the restroom, or you need to cry, or you need to walk out into the bright sunlight and your pupils contract. None of that is done by you automatically thinking about it. Or sorry, you consciously thinking about it. It's all done involuntarily without you having to think about it, which is really cool. So within the autonomic system, we divide even further. So let's look at that graph again. Here's the peripheral nervous system. So remember, there's the CNS and the PNS, right? Peripheral nervous system. We then divide into autonomic, involuntary, and somatic, voluntary. And then within the autonomic, there's two divisions, sympathetic and parasympathetic. So let's talk about each of those. So the first one, let me move over here. The first one is sympathetic. And this is when you get that fight or flight response. So you get scared, or you know, whatever it is, you get in a confrontation, a screaming match, whatever. You have felt in your 16, 17 years of life, your heart start to beat faster, your breathing start to increase. And the reason why that happens is because your body is prepping itself based on adrenaline being released to either get ready to fight or to get that energy to run. Either way, your body needs to be prepped and ready to go. So your sympathetic is actually like increasing your body, getting it ready for something. Your parasympathetic is the opposite. It calms you down. So I'm hoping right now, as you're sitting there taking notes, you're not too overly upset about life. You're probably using your parasympathetic, meaning you have a calm heart rate and breathing rate somewhere in the resting range, right? You hopefully are digesting your lunch, and you are calm. If for some reason you were in your sympathetic mode, your body's not concerned about digesting lunch. It's concerned about getting out of a situation that it might not be prepared for, whatever that is, or preparing for. So again, let's just look at that little graphic. So within the PNS, we have autonomic, involuntary, and somatic, voluntary. So I'm choosing to move my hand right now. That's somatic. I'm not consciously thinking about my heartbeat. That's involuntary. And then within the involuntary, there's two divisions, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So right now, pretty calm, not really anxious. I've had some breakfast, but it's also 6 o'clock in the morning, so whatever. Parasympathetic has kicked in. If I start running around, somebody pops around the corner, scares me, then my sympathetic might kick in. So hopefully that makes sense. We're going to go over these 3 questions later, so I'm just going to show them to you. Be prepared when you walk in tomorrow to have your lecture notes done that I handed you Monday, because I didn't see you yesterday. If you need extra copies, they're that like salmon color. If you need extra copies, Mr. Hinden will have them in a basket here for him. So I'm going to show you these 3 questions and then we'll be done. So how's an impulse transmitted from your fingertip to your brain? And then I could also add, how does it go from your brain to a muscle, right? Describe the role of a sodium-potassium pump. Do you remember action potential? We talked about it on Monday. And then lastly, describe a reflex arc. So those are the 3 big ideas that you should have taken away. We could also add a 4th question that says, describe the categories of the nervous system. So that'd be a good one too. Anyway, be nice, be good. Work seriously, diligently on those reading notes. They are due when you walk in at the beginning of the hour. Have a good day.